I would like to play a game. As far as what has loosely been called your life, you have spent your time listening to other lesser podcasts, such as Joe Rogan, Comedy Bang Bang, and Shockwaves. But now you are here, listening to Attack of the Killer podcast. Now how the game works is you move these little black circles across this board in order to get to the other side. But be warned, there are these red circles that will block your path, or even worse, remove your circle from the board.
Dude, I think you're talking about checkers. And why is your voice doing that?
Sorry about that, I have a cold. So, games and movies on this episode of Attack of the Killer podcast.
Attention, planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer podcast. 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 Time for the show. Yay.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Attack of the Killer podcast. I am your host, Insane Mike. This is episode 195. We are creeping up on that 200 spot, man.
It's going to be here before you know it.
And we're not ready. Anyway, but this episode we are going to be talking about horror movies that feature a game in them. So, not to get confused with, like, movies based off of games. This is just where a game happens in the movie. We got that cleared up. Okay, so
Yep.
What is Attack of the Killer podcast? It's a group of friends. We get together, we sit around, we discuss our common bond, which is horror films. We have like a topic, we pick some movies within that topic, and we go to town. Now, it's free discussion as if we were just hanging out, BSing about movies. So there's possibly going to be some spoilers, just to forewarn you. Just be ready for that. Attack of the Killer podcast is a member of the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. And the Prescribed Films Podcast Network is an amazing...
If you can see the hand gestures, guys.
That's right. An amazing podcast network where...
You're going to not be able to talk if you sit on your hands.
I tried sitting on my hands, folks, and I couldn't talk. 18 shows
18
shows on the network now, and it just keeps getting bigger and better. So you can check out all the shows at thepfpn.com, including a little show called The Movie Defenders. Now, what the heck is The Movie Defenders? If only we had somebody on the show.
If only we had first-hand knowledge.
Someone who actually knew what it was.
Exactly.
I don't think you found it.
But since we don't, Scott, why don't you tell us about The Movie Defenders?
No problem. Thanks, guys, for having me. I am Scott. I am 50% of the Movie Defender podcast. My running mate, partner, I think It Chapter 2 and Get Out are the last two horror movies he's seen, and that's about it. So I'll ride solo on this one. But what were we, number 14? 15? We weren't the latest. I know that.
Oh, yeah,
we were close. We were pretty close. We are a movie review podcast like this one. I think two things kind of set it apart a little bit. One is if we didn't like the film, we just won't review it. We started looking out there when we started the show to see what would make our show different, and we recorded a test show, and it sounded like everybody else's, and it wasn't a lot of it just didn't. Like if you want someone crapping on a movie, go to YouTube, type any movie ever, and hit enter, and you'll get all the content you want. So we just figured let's not lean into that. And then if there was a movie that we loved 80% and there was 20% we didn't like, we'll talk about it, but we'll focus on the 80%. So it tries to be a positive podcast, but we'll talk about it. There's been a couple movies that we reviewed that I liked better than him or he liked better than me, and that happens. That comes out in the show. And I think the other thing that kind of differentiates us is we will play the film during the show. We will play clips. Even if it's a new release, we will play clips and scenes from the show while we talk about them. So you guys were actually awesome and came on to do it Chapter 2 with us, which was amazing. And God, it was so much fun. And we played a lot of scenes. It was in the teens were the scenes of that thing. So It gets long, but it does set it apart for sure. Even days after a new release, you can relive it. We just did Zombieland, double tap, which was amazing, and I was laughing my ass off the whole time in the theater, trying not to pick up the sound of my laughter. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This is awesome.
Yes, thanks for being on.
Absolutely.
All right, so awesome. Check out the Movie Defenders as well as all the other amazing podcasts on thepfpn.com. Our sponsor, should mention them real quick, Shudder! Shudder is the coolest streaming service, and I'm pretty sure everybody on the show right now is on a super Shudder high right now.
Big time.
Because we just got... I don't want to get into it too much, because it's the only thing I have to talk about when it comes to what we watch. But, we just got done with another awesome, amazing Joe Bob marathon over the weekend. His Halloween special.
Hootenanny.
The Halloween Hootenanny, yes. Oh, and it was awesome. So Shudder is super cool. If you're a horror fan, you'll love it, and you should have it. And you don't? Well, let me help you out. I'm going to give you the first month free. Don't tell anybody, but it's just for you because I like you. And how do you get that? Well, when you go to sign up, you type in the promo code AOTKP, and you will get a month for free on us here at Attack of the Killer Podcast. Awesome.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question on that one? Can I ask you a question? Like a noob question? I've seen it, and my daughter's really getting into horror, and I've thought about subscribing and signing up. Does it have films that also can be found like on other places, Netflix, Hulu, or is that kind of the big point? Is there's a lot of flicks in there you won't find anywhere else, or is it kind of both? Or
there's a mix. You'll probably find some stuff on some other streaming services for sure, but they also do have a lot of great of their own original content. Like we talked about Joe Bob's marathons are always awesome, but they started doing this new Creep Show anthology series TV show, which is really good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Nice.
They've done a lot of original content for movies as well. They've been doing some amazing jobs of getting some stuff faster than anyone else. They just put up Haunt, which came out last month, and they're the first ones to be streaming that. So,
but they really do have a lot of content you can't find anywhere. Horror,
exactly.
The good horror deep dives, foreign, all sorts of great stuff.
Yeah.
They got good documentary stuff about films, like about Fright Night and stuff like that, and it's just I really dig that kind of stuff they got on there as well.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Now, the Hunt was that Emma Roberts thing that never really released anywhere, right? Or was that? I'm trying to remember which one that was. I think you're right. I think it's it. I have to check that out. I want to use the code I didn't hear you give me.
It's the initials of the show. AOTKP. It's really cool, and if you sign up for it like on a Roku or some other
Apple TV,
you do it directly through Shudder. They also have where
live TV.
They have 3 separate live channels going on as well. So you could just click on and just let it play with whatever's on, or you can surf through and pick what you want, like a Netflix or whatever.
You don't think you miss it having live stuff presented to you, but you end up watching stuff that you never probably would have because it's on,
Yeah, just because it's there, it's on. Yeah,
it's just on and playing. Mm-hmm. It's so cool.
All right, so also I want to take a moment here and say thank you to the Patreon supporters out there. And if you're not a Patreon supporter yet, it's not too late. You can become one. Just put in AOTKP and check out the different tiers. You can get all kinds of cool stuff like bonus episodes, special videos, Insane Mike's 1 minute top 10 list. We just got our brand new t-shirt. What? You could get a t-shirt if you really wanna. But being a Patreon supporter of the show is cool, and you become what we call the member of the Attackers. And we have 2 new members of the Attackers.
2 new members!
That we're going to give shout-outs to right now. See, when you're a Patreon supporter, we get to talk about you on the show. So we have Brandy, who is super awesome and super cool, is a new Patreon supporter.
She is.
Yeah. And then all the way from Germany, we have Stefan Sitter.
Is it Stefan?
It's Stefan. It's It's German.
That's
the
what
last
my 5
name
years.
right, I hope.
My 5 years junior high and high school German gets me. That's what it is, right there.
All right.
Stefan Sitter. So thank you, Stefan.
Oh, thank you so much,
Absolutely.
guys.
And thank you, Brandy. And Brandy already has her Patreon commentary episode picked out, too.
Oh, gosh. Oh, that's right.
Silver Bullet. So
Yeah.
be looking forward to that.
All right.
Yeah.
It's her favorite movie.
It is her favorite movie. All right. So
Thanks, guys.
thank you again. And now it's time to introduce you all to the podcast crew. He played poker with a deck of tarot cards. He got a full house and 3 people died. Andy Wassam, everybody.
Yeah. I've been known to put people in that much peril. Hi, everybody.
His favorite video game is Grand Theft Auto. Matter of fact, just the other day, he beat up a prostitute, stole a car, robbed a man at gunpoint, and then he went home and played Grand Theft Auto. Ted Good, everybody.
If you're a Patreon subscriber, you'll listen to the bonus episode and know that he is lying. I did not beat up a prostitute, and I don't appreciate the allegations.
He actually paid her very well.
That's right.
He was trying to play a card game with his cousin, the pirate, but they couldn't play because his cousin was sitting on the deck. Jason Bollinger.
Oh, hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Happy to be here.
And now, lastly, his chess game was missing a couple pieces, so he went to the pawn shop. A very special guest, Scott Alden from the Movie Defenders.
Yeah, it is, and I thought the sign meant literally. I didn't understand what was in there. Actually, sorry. He's like, get out. You know, I didn't see any other chessboards anywhere. I tried.
It's false advertising.
It is. It's just so confusing.
It reminds me back in the day, in my years of retail, I worked for the Musicland Group, and their set of small town stores, like big city stores, were called On Cue, and we would get phone calls all the time asking if we had like pool balls and pool cues.
Boo.
No, but people were serious. They thought we really carried that stuff.
And you had to tell me you didn't have any balls.
Oh. On that note, I'm going to turn it over.
See, I can write your shtick.
That's fine. You be the host. I'm out of here. Not so easy, is it? Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Tad.
All right, we're going to start with our first segment, which is what we watched. Where we talk about what we've watched that's not part of the episode, but we just sort of open discuss what we've watched. And I'm going to start with myself because I missed the last episode. I don't know if you guys did a what we watched last one, because I don't actually listen to our podcast.
Aww.
But it's been a while, so I have some stuff. I'm just going to get out of the way so I can nap through Jason's like 6-hour talk.
I love how Jason still gets shit for it, but I'm pretty sure Andy's passed him a long time ago on the list.
I've been
Yeah,
busy.
maybe.
I don't have time.
But I've obviously, I think most of us, I don't know, did everybody else watch the Halloween Hootenanny with Joe Bob Briggs?
Yep,
Did you watch it live?
I did.
Awesome. I was ironically
minute of it.
watching. Well, yeah, I was watching it live too. I fell asleep like with 15 minutes left of Halloween 5, so I went back to watch it Saturday night, and I fell asleep again. So I still haven't seen the last 15 minutes, but we were playing the original Halloween at the Capitol, and I was watching the Hootenanny on my laptop at the same time. And ironically, like, Joe Bob had so many breaks and talked so much that we started the second showing of Halloween at 9:00. He started Halloween at 8:00, and it caught up to it because of his talking. So like at one point the movies were on the same like time. They were playing about the same time, but I wasn't really watching the movie segments because I've seen these movies so many times. So I would just sort of have one earbud in, and when you start talking, listen, then pull it back out, But yeah, it's great to have Joe Bob back. He just announced they're doing a Christmas special on Shudder, also. So you might want to save that promo code. You can have a free month in December, and then you can binge watch as much as you want and watch that one live. I don't know, just saying.
Or get multiple email accounts.
Well, how would you not sign up? It's once you learn how awesome it is.
That's true.
And it's only $5. I mean,
it's $5
sign
a
up
month.
now. Yeah, it's so affordable and awesome. And I've gotten through this Halloween season with it on, like you said, with the live streaming stuff. I turn that on if I'm doing something else. Just having it on, not having to make a choice on what to watch is awesome.
Yep.
and it's always something good. Like
Uh-huh.
the other day, I turned it on. It was Pieces, and my wife's like, "What's this?" I'm like, "The best thing ever. Let's watch it." And then it was like they had so much like. They've been showing the Creep Show on there, but I have actually, that was my next thing. Creep Show, another Shudder original. I've been watching it, and apparently you guys have been too, because when I go to play it, it's at the end of the episode. But that's good, because I'll be honest, the first episode I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh no, this might be bad, and it's gotten better and better, and it's really good now. It reminds me a lot of the old Tales from the Crypt stuff.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that.
Cool. I've only seen the first episode, so that's awesome.
The first episode, I don't know, just didn't do it for me, and then it's gotten, like, every episode since then has been very solid. This latest one that I watched is not the newest one, but it's I won't spoil anything because you guys got to watch them, but it's been awesome. Let's see. Obviously, I've been watching the stuff that we've been playing at the Capitol, so a lot of the old stuff, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Carnival of Souls. I did see Zombieland Double Tap, so it's nice to get out and sort of see the one new horror film that's in theaters in October. I don't know why we're getting Dr. Sleep in November. I mean, come on.
Yeah, how dumb is that? That's insane.
Yeah, that, and I guess the Lighthouse, but it's not getting wide until maybe later this week or into next month. So just seems like horror wise, it's not been a great year for October, but yeah, I feel like I've watched a whole bunch of other stuff just here and there, but that's mostly what I've watched. So
Yeah, even Quiet Place 2 is not due out till February, March. It's like not even this time. They just wrapped, but even it's delayed, or not this time of year. You're right. It's kind of
and they're doing the new Saw, which is the Saw movies have always come out Halloween time, like a tradition. They push that up, and they're bumping it up from Halloween next year to like May or June or something weird. So I don't know. I don't know why studios aren't doing that, but I mean, next year we'll have new Halloween film, and then the year after we'll have another Halloween film. So
yeah,
I'll take it.
I was gonna say it's kind of cool that Halloween gets to take over the month of October again.
Yeah, and I could see if like that was the case, that nobody else would want to compete with that. And it used to be like when there was a Paranormal Activity or a Saw movie, I understood that no one wanted to go up against them, but this year, the only thing we've had really is Zombieland, and it didn't do great numbers compared to it fell short to Joker still, which is still number one, but which I also saw. Sort of forgot to put down on the list. We might have talked about that already, but yeah, it's been sort of a weird month for new stuff, but I always want to watch more, and obviously I saw Carrie at the Capitol with Jason. That was fun.
Yeah.
Only had to call the cops on one guy. That was something. But
I finally went home. I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask you how much your bail was.
Yeah. It was not Jason, unfortunately. He was nice and polite in the corner and was quiet as always. I almost had to go. I was almost going to go get you and ask you to kick the guy out, but
I would have.
He's become a pro at that.
Yeah, I had to for Halloween Palooza once. So
yeah. All right. Well, I guess that sort of wraps up because I feel like I've watched more, but I can't think of the top of my head, and that's enough time I've spent. So let's go with Mike. What have you watched?
Okay, well, I too watched the Joe Bob Halloween Hootenanny, and I was so happy to get to watch it live. Because what sucks is usually, Joe Bob's on Fridays, and I usually close on Fridays. So I'm either catching like it halfway through or towards the end of it by the time I get home and I can get TV on. But I got to start it from the very beginning. And I couldn't make it all the way to the end though. It was about halfway through Halloween 5 by the time I finally gave up. But it was awesome because I had a certain Patreon supporter there with me and watching it with me, and it was just cool, just vegging out. It just was really nostalgic for like the old days of just vegging out on the weekends on the couch, curled up in a blanket, watching horror movies with a host. But man, he was in top form. I swear, the older that guy gets, the sharper and funnier
he was
gets.
awesome.
Yeah. Oh man. Like that part where he's talking about Lifetime movies. I was just rolling, and he went on forever. Or like Brandy got up and went to the bathroom, and when she came back, and she's like, "Is he still talking about Lifetime movies?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's still talking about Lifetime movies." So there's that. Interesting, you didn't mention that you also saw a movie called Collapse. At your theater, Tad?
I didn't really watch it. I mean, I played it, but no, I'm just kidding. I was letting you. I can't take everything that you've seen. I knew that your lists are usually short, so
yeah. I never feel like I get much time to watch anything, but so watching my movie Collapse on the big screen again was awesome and a lot of fun. And thanks, Tad, for doing that. And also,
thank you, man.
Also, thanks for the Q&A at the end. That was fun.
Yes, it was.
And then I guess the only other thing that I've really watched, my son and I have been looking forward to this for a while, and it finally came out on DVD and Blu-ray, and I bought it blindly. It was Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans, and it was awesome.
Did you see that one in theaters, or am I thinking a different one?
Teen Titans Go to the Movies was the one they showed in theaters. But what's cool about that one is that at the end credits there was a little Easter egg at the end of that led into this direct video release of Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. And it was cool because as a comic book geek, there's just a lot of homages to DC Comics and Teen Titan history in the movie, and it's hysterical. It's really funny, and what's interesting about the original Teen Titans cartoon and Teen Titans Go, it's the same characters, so it's the exact same voice actors for both series. So now you got two sets of each of these characters in this movie, all voiced by the same actors. So you got two cyborgs voiced by the same guy, two ravens voiced by the same lady, and it's cool. I think you get a really cool scope of what it takes to be a voice actor, because even though they're playing the same characters and it's the same voice actor, there's differences in the performances that stand out night and day, that you can close your eyes and you could tell which version of Robin is talking. And I thought that was amazing. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. That's all I've watched.
All right. Well, listeners, attackers, get comfortable because I'm going to throw it to Jason. What did you watch?
Everything that you guys have seen. I saw Joker and Collapse and Carrie and all those Halloweens. The only one that I have on my list that isn't one that you guys have said already is the 2019 Escape Room. I think it's on Netflix.
I saw that in the theater.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. It was pretty good.
Was it a Blumhouse thing?
Oh gosh, no. It says the studio is original film. I don't know what that is.
Only problem I had with it is that it had just as many endings as Lord of the Rings. I mean, that's what it seems like. I'm serious, dude. If you watch it, it's just like it could have ended 4 or 5 times. But other than that, that's my only real gripe about it.
Yeah, it was directed by Adam Robitel, who did Insidious: The Last Key and the Taking of Deborah Logan.
Get ready for 8 sequels because that thing made money. It was under $10 million budget and it's pulled 150 plus. They're going to make some more of that thing.
Oh yeah, I bet.
I think they've at least already started shooting if they're not done. Because I saw some of the pictures of the sets, how they do it. It's pretty cool.
So in your face, that's it. I'm done. You
All
guys
right.
said all yours, all mine.
You're done already?
You guys said all mine.
All right. Well, Scott, what have you watched?
You said some of them. 2 big, not shameless plugs. They are the last 2 things I saw in the theater were Joker and Zealand Double Tap, which genius. I thought if the original Zombieland is like a 9 out of 10, this thing's an 8.5 or an 8. It was very clear that. And they said we had a sequel script like months after it was first released because it was successful, but we didn't like it, and we've been waiting for the right script, and they had to wait for the original writers to turn in a draft. They liked it. It was good. They waited. It was fantastic. Saw Unfriended 1 and Unfriended Dark Web again this last week. Why? Because it was on. It's Halloween. Lots of scary movies are on, and I dig those things. Those are fun, short, easy watches. They're great.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, Mike, have you caught Titans on the DC Universe at all?
No, I still
it.
haven't
Okay.
gotten the app yet. I was tempted because they put it out on DVD, so I'm tempted just to pick up the box set because I did already pick up the Doom Patrol box set because I was really excited about that show.
Cool.
So.
If you just want a password on, check it out. Hit me up. I will say it is rated R. Okay. Mild rated R, but rated R, basically DC stuff. Imagine the Arrowverse with no rules. Awesome. The first episode, Robin smashed a guy's face through a car window and then drug his face along the glass that was still left. And I went, oh, okay, this is going to be different, isn't it? And it is, and it's in the middle of season 2, and Deathstroke's the big bad on the poster and everything, and it is. I think it's really well done. If you've dug Doom Patrol, and if you've dug any of the Arrowverse stuff, the Berlanti stuff they've done, Titans, if you like those characters, they've done them right. I think it's fun. It's not a lot of dope, but yeah. Oh, and then I probably have seen the Rise of Skywalker trailer enough times to make a movie.
Yeah.
Out of 2 hours, like 2 minutes times how many? 100 times, something like that. But So
I got my tickets, but I haven't watched the trailer because I'm gonna watch it. I got the tickets. I'm just gonna avoid it. I'm just gonna try to avoid it as much as possible.
I respect that. I will say they've dialed in the formula of showing you stuff without telling you shit. Most trailers make sure you know a basic plot in there, and there's nothing. Like once we were done with it, I'm like, I still know nothing about what this is gonna be, which is great. But I understand completely not even wanting some imagery. That's one thing. Say what you want about J.J. Abrams. That man can put some visuals together, and he knows what he's doing. So this should be fun. That's what I've been watching.
Excellent. Well, I guess since we've had a quick run, Andy, it's your turn to give us a long one.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'll promise I'll try. Yeah. Well, I may have a small rant at the end because the last thing I'm going to talk about gets my blood boiling. But I'm going to start off. Thanks to Larry Watanabe from My Bleeding Years, I watched a Romeo and Juliet on VHS, and I don't have much to say. I mean, it's a trauma film, but I was just like, I'm thinking to myself, like, if Disney is going to like get mad about what James Gunn put on Twitter 8 years ago, I mean, did they not like check his resume? Have they seen this film?
That's what I've said.
My God.
Man, if you want to, I'll just hit mute because I'm going to get pissed.
Because it's just watch some of his stuff that he's made and wrote in the past, and you should have been known exactly who you were dealing with.
I mean, just his pure association with Troma, but let alone the stuff that he wrote for Troma, or even that he did on camera for Troma. He plays in Toxic Avenger Part 4. He plays a very, very mean-spirited version of Stephen Hawking's in a wheelchair. Yeah. It's not flattering at all to Stephen Hawking.
That sentence alone is like offensive.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, moving on. I can't believe I actually found this on DVD. It's almost impossible to find on VHS, and when you do find it, it's like it costs a ridiculous amount of money. But I know this one was rare, and it's a shot on video in 1989 in Connecticut. It's called the Wood Chipper Massacre.
Oh,
Yes!
yeah.
I love the Wood Chipper Massacre.
I saw the Nail Gun Massacre, which was really bad. Is that related at all? No.
No,
no,
Wood Chipper's probably worse.
This is Nail Gun Massacre actually is kind of, would attract more of the slasher and the booby lovers, which, includes all of us. But
I can't believe there's people I'm talking to that even know what the hell that movie is. I haven't found anybody.
I have it on DVD.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I've watched it with the director's commentary.
Oh my god. Yeah, my favorite part was when the guy's lying dead on the road and someone like accidentally touches one of the nails and it like goes boing. It like moves. I don't remember much, but I remember that.
But anyway, this Wood Chipper Massacre, basically, it takes place at home, and these kids are being babysitted by their aunt, and she's a real bitch, and there's, like, this accidental killing, and they eventually, shove her into the wood chipper, to cover up the fact that, that this accident happened, They don't take into account that, her entrails would be spraying all over the yard, but, that's besides the point, I guess. But the real interesting thing that I found about the DVD was the extras. And in the extras, the redheaded kid with the really thick glasses that my wife said I looked like when I was young, which really kind of pissed me off. He turned out to be an Emmy award-winning writer for As the World Turns. Which is like the craziest damn thing that, and he's associated with this. He's like, yeah, it's like, I remember, and it was just basically like this theater group that made this shot on video. And it's not even really, I wouldn't even call it a horror movie. It's more like a black comedy. And, it's just a real unique thing that I have in my collection, and I don't think I will ever get rid of it. I can just actually say, yes, I have the Wood Chipper Massacre, so. Moving on, I wanted to talk about this on the last one because I did also see Joker, and that was one of the films I was going to talk about. But I did see 3 from Hell.
Yeah.
And
that was a long pause.
well, here's the thing. I feel about it the same way I did when I saw Sin City: A Dame to Kill For. I felt like it's too little, too late. It's kind of like, I look at it as like an old friend from college that you haven't seen in 20 years, but you had like the greatest time when you were in college, but like those days are gone, but you still feel like this real deep sense of loyalty, to your friends back then, but times have changed, but due to that old spark. I've watched it again. And because sometimes Rob Zombie films have to grow on me a little bit. Like Lords of Salem, it really grew on me, and I ended up really, really liking it. Because the first time I watched it, I was just like, "This is," but I did buy it, because I wanted it in my collection, and I always like the making ofs, because there's like a 3-4 hour one of like Halloween and the making of that, and I just really like that. And
Yeah, it's
there's
better
one
than the
on
movie.
yeah, and there's one on 3 from Hell as well. And I got the one with the Disco Sucks shirt, which I was glad it came in large, so it fits me perfectly. But yeah, I may have to watch it again and see if it grows on me a little bit more. But I didn't hate it, but I'm not in love with it either. So yeah, 3 from Hell. And the last one I'm going to talk about, it's not really a horror movie, and I absolutely loved it, but that's not what my rant is about. It's Deadwood, the movie, because I freaking loved that show. You guys ever watch Deadwood? I can listen to Ian.
Saw the movie. I wasn't a diehard fan. Did see it though. Did see the film as well.
Yeah, I can listen to Ian McShane call people a cocksucker all day long. It's the show was awesome, okay? But it only got 3 seasons. And as the credits were rolling on this movie that I thought was okay. I mean, it was good. I mean, it tied up a lot of loose ends. I'm getting more and more agitated that we only got 3 seasons of Deadwood, but we got 7 seasons of some asshole just going sucky. For 7 fucking years, that True Blood shit was up.
All right, that's not shit. I do admit there are some were better than others, but I dug it. You're right. That accent got annoying though. I'm with you. That's good.
Yeah, it's just I'm sorry.
A British version of a Southern accent.
something about like vampire romance just really bothers me, dude. It
was more vampire. I don't know if that was romance. There wasn't a lot of romance. There's just a bunch of banging.
Well, yeah. But I mean, just to me, like I'm more like I'm not Team Edward at all. I'm Team David. I'm Team Severin. Those guys were freaking vampires. Okay, vampires don't have chronicles. They don't have journals. They don't have diaries. When did they become all novelists? Okay. Jesus Christ. I mean, when's the last time you heard about a werewolf, penning his memoirs, okay? Because they would be like the funniest drunk stories ever. They'd go a little something like this. Yeah. Woke up naked, covered in blood in a cornfield again with flesh in my teeth. Time to see a doctor.
And the rant he spoke of.
True Blood did jump the shark at a certain point when it deviated from books. I think there were every season there were story arcs that I loved and couldn't get enough of, and then there were a couple of arcs every season. It was like, I'm not really sure I'm into that as much, but I'm sure that's the way with anything. But I dug it. It got a little weird at the end for shizzle.
It did, and I only saw the first season of Deadwood.
First couple seasons are really freaking strong. But yeah, it got a little weird. Sorry, I didn't mean to drag this into the mud.
No. Well, I threw down the gauntlet there. I didn't care.
So what does that have to do with Deadwood? You were saying something about
he was.
Well, my tie-in there is this like HBO. Sometimes they cancel really good shows, and then they just ride out as seasons of television that just get progressively worse, in my opinion.
So the movie that you watched, how was that?
The movie was good because it tied up a lot of loose ends, and some characters, some beloved characters, actually died, and. But yeah, it was good.
So what are you crying about then? Why you?
Because I'm not crying about it.
You got some closure. So stop whining that a better show got more seasons. Sorry.
Yeah, it was the Game of Thrones of the time it was on, man. Like that thing was the ratings on that thing. True Blood were just insane, and yeah,
maybe by the Desperate Housewives crowd.
Hey, that's a good matter. Hey, Terry Hatcher's awesome. No, I'm just kidding.
It doesn't matter. They're the ones. As long as people are watching,
Well, yeah, a lot of people are gluttons for punishment too.
I still can't explain why Pokemon got a freaking movie, so I'm not. I get it. Some things I don't get either.
Mike, save us. Get us out of
Is that it for your list?
Yes.
Yes, that's it for my list.
All right.
And True Blood's still on my shit list.
Tad, is that everybody? Did everybody go?
I think so. Yeah.
All right. So that's what we watched, and what we and our new segment, what we rant.
What we ran.
Well, we wish there was something more I could have watched.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
All right, so we should get into our films. What's our topic? Oh yeah, games. Games within movies. So, Andy, why don't you start us off? What's the first movie we're going to talk
Now
about?
that he's all
tonight?
warmed up.
Yeah, now sure, good and ready to go.
Oh yeah, I also saw Zombieland and Addams Family. So
Oh.
sorry.
Oh, how is that Am's Family? I'm really wanting to see that. I didn't realize that was out.
It's actually pretty darn good. I mean, it's got a good message. Don't judge people. It's basically book by its cover sort of theme. Basically, don't judge people because they're a little different, but at the same time, the Addams fall into that category too. Don't judge people because they're not like all gothic like you as well. But yeah, it's good. It was cute. It was a good time. So
Okay. Cool. And then what's the movie we're going to talk about first?
this is awesome. This now puts me in a better mood because I really like this movie. We are going to talk about Brain Scan.
Now that I have your attention, please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Trickster.
What was that film you were watching?
Death.
Death.
Part 2.
Oh, Lord.
Michael's seen it,
Go for it, man.
done it, played it,
Look, I've played them all.
and just when he thought he'd die of boredom,
Brain Scan. The ultimate experience in interactive terror.
Never leave home without it.
You're in the game, man. You're in control.
You must think like a killer. Cover up any clues. Leave no witnesses, no evidence.
a challenge he can't resist.
It was so real. It was sick.
See, I told you, man. I told you it would blow your mind.
A game he can't escape.
There was a grisly murder in the quiet suburban town of Mountview today.
So you did it.
What was on that disc?
It's not a game anymore.
Hamilton and Hayden.
It's real.
It wasn't supposed to be real.
Real, unreal, what's the difference?
I didn't kill the man. I didn't even know him.
You're in this now. You won't survive on your own. You started this and now you're afraid to finish it just like you're afraid of everything else.
I won't kill her.
Shoot her! Wait. The witness has to die.
Edward Furlong, Frank Langella, and introducing T. Ryder Smith as the Trickster. Brain Scan.
I can't wait to see what you do next.
I want to start off by saying Aerosmith owes them a big,
Oh my God. I wrote on my notes, who had the free box of Get a Grip posters? Because they were in every room of every house.
I know. The Aerosmith Get a Grip was like heavily promoted in this, but this movie stars Edward Furlong as Michael Brower, and the backstory on him is that he had an accident with his parents when he was younger, and he hurt his leg really, really bad. So Edward Furlong limps along. He walks a little funny, not because he's fucked up and he's Edward Furlong. It's like actually for the character. But basically, he had a car wreck, and his mother, his parents had the car wreck, and his mom died, and he's kind of a horror outcast, and he's got this friend named Kyle, and Kyle calls him late one night, and he's home all alone because his dad is pretty absent because he's a businessman. So Mike has that house all to himself, and Kyle starts talking to him about this game called Brain Scan, and it's all interactive and everything. And Kyle's up in this room, and even as a almost 40-year-old man, I still want his room with all the shitty technology in it. By this point, he's talking about how great this game is, and pretty soon that phone call ends, and turns out old Eddie's kind of got like a voyeur perv thing going on with the girl next door named Kimberly, played by Amy Hargreaves, I believe that's how that's pronounced. And she gives the impression that like she knows that she's being watched, so she's almost kind of putting on a show for him. But I mean, I think he's kind of clueless at this point in the movie. So time moves on, and he ends up calling this brain scan hotline in order to order this game, and he wants to know what it's all about. And eventually, they say that it's this really, really intense game and all this and that, and he kind of pushes it off as far as I considered. I think he goes into like some sort of like weird seizure, like when he's sitting down, and then all of a sudden the phone says, "Okay, your first disc will be ordered," and then they hang up on him, and he didn't even give him their address. Time passes by, and Mike gets the game in the mail without literally, giving him the address. So he puts it in, and basically he has to go on this killing spree and kill this neighbor without giving away any evidence or leaving any clues and stuff like that. And he has to do it within a time lock in order to get out. So basically he does that, and he has to do it with a little bit of pizzazz, per se. So he hacks off this guy's foot that has this tattoo on it. Then, next morning, he finds out about a murder that has actually happened in the neighborhood. And things take off from there, and it turns out he is the one that actually committed the murder through the game, because he finds the said severed foot in his freezer. Then he starts freaking out, and through the television, through the game, comes this character by the name of Trickster. And I don't want to give it too much away, because I want to let you guys talk about it as well, but I have to say that Trickster, from what I can tell from watching the movie, he was Tyler Durden before there was Tyler Durden, if you guys catch what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'll pass it on to any comments. Tad, you go ahead.
You want me? I don't know. Man, this one was something that I've seen the box art. I've known of this movie for, I don't know, forever, since I started getting into horror. I've never seen it. First time watch for me. And
wow.
I don't see myself watching it again.
I like it?
No, I like Edward Furlong, but man, this was just like, I like the concept. I like Furlong. Maybe it was the Trickster. Something about him was just so painfully dated, and I don't know. I just did not like his character. I liked everything in between. Like, I found it pretty tense when he was doing everything he could not to get caught, and he was trying to cover up and tie up any loose ends, trying to avoid loading the second disc. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna sound like I hate it, but I think maybe I was in my head. I was like, man, I finally get to watch this one. I'm excited for it, and it didn't do what I wanted out of it. I don't know. I did not hate it. I will be clear there. I wouldn't even say I disliked it. I just didn't love it. So, but like I said, the scenes where in any movie, that kind of stuff always gets me when someone's sort of on the run. With a scene where he's at the crime scene, he hides down in the basement, and the dog is sniffing him out and he's laying under the sheet, and there's so many scenes where he's about ready to get caught, and that kind of stuff like gets me so anxious compared to just like a slasher chasing somebody. I don't know why, but that it was effective in that way, so that's good.
I would have to say that like either like Edward Furlong's character is like the Osama bin Laden of hide and seek, or like all of his neighbors are like legally blind, because there's like, from the way that they had him positioned, that he looked like he stuck out like a sore thumb, man.
Yeah.
Except the detective who could find him like in a cornfield somehow. Like he just kept bumping into that detective. He's like, "Hey, I know you, yeah." Hid from everyone but him.
Yeah,
Frank Langella.
Yeah. I like this movie. I've always liked this movie. I got to see it in the theater back in '94.
Oh,
and
cool.
Thought it was awesome. But I think I know where Tad's coming from. The movie is very dated. Watching it nowadays, it's very dated. From the 1994 super high-tech, sci-fi almost technology that is now so like outdated and lame by today's standards of his bedroom. But even still, there's still things that, like, can you hook up your computer to talk like Igor and answer your phone calls for you and tell you who's on the other line? I don't know. But, and then the trickster who is, it comes from that era of everybody trying to find the next Freddy Krueger. And he is very, very much trying way too hard to be the next Freddy Krueger. There's some things I like that the trickster does, little things like eating the raw chicken and stuff like that. But
I like the way he dances to Primus. That was awesome.
Yeah, and any movie that has Primus on the soundtrack's okay in my book.
But I think it even, not lifted, but even the score, there's the piano walking kind of very similar to Elm Street. Also.
Yeah, but there are those like super tense moments. I agree with Tad too, like that are really tense. It puts you in a really tense mood because you don't want him to get caught, and you just keep watching him kind of go further down the spiral, and you definitely don't want to get caught when the cop that's after you is Frank Langella. That's a guy I never would want to mess with.
Skeletor, man. Fuck with him.
Exactly. But
I think I sort of put myself in his shoes. Like when I was a kid, I would do something like, "Oh, I heard this is the most intense video game." It goes from there. And didn't he actually say like his friend said he saw it in Fangoria, so that's where he called the number.
Yeah.
And it's like, it wasn't, to me. It's like if you have something like this that's this intense and crazy, you would think it would be more of an underground thing, sort of like another movie we're going to talk about that I won't spoil, but you think it'd be something that was like passed from friend to friend, like the Ring tape or something, not something that, because if it's in Fangoria, like he's one of thousands of, if not more, of kids ordering this thing and wanting to play it.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. And and I've always been an Edward Furlong fan as well. It's just a shame that he went the direction that he did, but all the movies from this era and before, I freaking love with him.
Pet Sematary 2?
I like Pet Sematary 2.
I fucking love that one.
Oh, good.
Wasn't he in one of the Crow movies, too? He was the Crow at one point.
Yeah. I never did see that one.
Like the third one, maybe?
Yeah.
I think I've only seen bits and pieces.
He was in John Waters' Pecker, and I really like that movie a lot, and he's great in that movie.
I don't know. Have you guys seen, what is it, Terminator 2? He's in that one, I think.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's what the hell's that?
Detroit Rock City. I love him in Detroit Rock City as well.
Yes. He was in the Night of the Demons remake as well.
Yeah.
American History X.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, duh.
But anyway, yeah, that's my 2 cents. I like this movie. I always love this movie. It's probably for nostalgia reasons. And you talked about Fangoria magazine. The guy Edward Furlong and his friend are big horror guys, and So
I like that. Yeah,
it
the horror club.
Yeah, it spoke to me on that level, but it does come off rather dated. And I'll say, and we can get into it more later if you want, and give everyone else a chance to give their 2 cents before we get into it. But the ending, as much as that type of ending in a movie that I hate, for me, even the first time I ever saw this movie, it's like it's a cheat ending that actually I feel like is the one time that makes sense and is excusable. But then they kind of ruin it with the very last little shot of the dog at the end. But anyway, who else?
Well, I hate to say it, I'm definitely more in Ted's camp. It was my first watch too, surprisingly. Really? And yeah, I agree. I don't think I hated it, but it didn't do it for me. I thought it was the pacing was kind of awful and just didn't do it.
Well, this might interest you, Jason, music-wise. Do you know that the composer was George S. Clinton?
I saw that.
A dog, P-Funk.
The music actually was very 90s horror movie music. It was very, which was cool. I actually thought the music stood out a little bit. It was pretty solid in a lot of spots. But yeah, I didn't know he wrote that. That's kind of awesome.
Also heard a little bit of White Zombie on the soundtrack as well.
Yeah, what was it? Thunder Kiss or?
Yeah, Thunder Kiss 65. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have this soundtrack on CD even.
Is it 2 discs and you have to play the second one?
No, but every time I listen to it, next thing I know, I'm waking up in a pool of sweat and there's a severed foot by my side.
Yeah, and you have a white stuff on your chin. It's just milk, though.
Oh yeah, him drinking that milk, that was gross.
Grosser than the guy eating the raw chicken.
Kinda, yeah.
Kinda. He ate it kind of like Cookie Monster does. Like, he doesn't really quite eat it. He kind of looks like he is. But
what was that plate of shit that he had? It was like Jell-O and bananas
and mustard. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Jason, I think I'm kind of with you. I think there was a lot of. I don't mind dated movies. I can put myself back in the time, and video games were taking a quantum leap in ability because we were getting away from floppy disks and cartridges to what a CD could hold, and that was exponentially expanding what a game could do and be. And a lot of people were freaking out about it and those things. So I thought the premise was really solid. I thought the whole lead up was great. My biggest, I try not to judge a film based on what it wasn't that I expected it to be, because I don't think that's fair to the art. And you don't have to explain everything to me, but my biggest whole thing in the flick was, why? Why this guy? Why this video game? Why this thing? How'd that happen? I was waiting for a little bit to be explained, just a little bit, but it really never got explained. So I kind of got to the end and felt like, why did that guy come out of the game? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, just why a game? Why not? I don't know, anything. That's all. It's a small nitpick. The pacing was interesting. It showed the slashing stuff out of the first kill, and then never really did again. After that, it was implied and off camera completely. And I think you're right. I think it tried to flirt with because. I can't remember if Andrew or Mike or who said it before, was that the suspense of not getting caught was more, up than the slashing and the killing parts and stuff. So Furlong's character seemed to be totally cool at the fact this magical being sitting in his room 5 minutes after he met him was like, oh, this happens every day. It's totally cool. Let's just talk to this guy. But I thought the premise, I think there's a lot there. I think they left some stuff on the table a little bit as far as what it could have. But I think I dug it. I dug the whole premise, and I dug it, and I agree with the end. The end, I'm still kind of wrestling with. I'm not sure how, because I'm with you. I have that feeling toward those endings for sure. If they're done intelligently, like the Joker, where there's all these layers of interpretation, I'm all in. But when you just kind of pull the rug out from things at the end, not to do spoilers too much, but yeah, sometimes I'll be put off. But not sure how I feel on this one just yet. We'll see. I don't know. Am I way off?
No. I think the Trickster reminded me of like an even meaner version or a shittier version of Maurice from Little Monsters.
Yeah.
Sort of looks like him, and he's just like a crazy lunatic that's fucking up his room. And it's like, I wanted a little, I don't know, there wasn't, I don't know, the balance between humor and like what was really happening was weird with him. And like you said, I just don't get why. Like, maybe it would have been more, I probably would have liked it more if he wasn't actually like a physical weird monster that came into his room. Rather, maybe it was like another voice, sort of like Igor or whatever his computer companion was. Like, I'd rather just have like a voice coming in and you know, sort of antagonizing him, and rather than, I just didn't get why he was sort of like this monster thing. I don't know.
That kind of stuff was cool, though. It was almost the 90s version of War Games. Like, his rig was better than everybody else's rig. It was kind of showing you what the future could and was going to be. I mean, now we do that. We talk to our computers all the time and tell stuff to happen. So that part, especially at the beginning when they were setting up this kid and when he's done, was great. My only other question was, I understand the mom died in the crash, but where was Dad? Like, there's murders in the neighborhood, and he's on some business trip. I just don't come home. It's like, at some point, wouldn't Dad have come home? Anyway, it's all good. I understand why. It's a device to get him out of the way, so all the hilarity can ensue. But I just,
Well, I mean, it's kind of a spoiler alert. If you watch the film, you'll find out why Dad doesn't come home, because he kind of wakes up in the chair.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. The end does explain that. That's right. Yeah, the end, while I'm wrestling with it, does explain some stuff and why it was kind of weird and in that way. And like you said, even my complaint, like, why did Edward Furlong, he's totally cool with this guy being in his room. Well, if the ending is to be believed, that it would explain it. So, yeah, it kind of does help in those ways. That makes sense.
I mean, what's interesting, I just want to say an interesting tidbit about the writer of this film. He also is the screenwriter of a movie called Seven with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt.
Never heard of it.
Me neither. I was hoping you guys would have. So, yeah, interesting that he went from this, and then he also wrote Seven. So, I mean, he's got a very creative mind, I think.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, what's everyone's overall feeling on the ending? Like, I hate those type of endings, but I liked it on this movie.
Why'd you like it on this one?
Because it made sense. It made sense that the whole thing was just the game. It seemed way more plausible than it just be like, oh, everything I just watched for 2 hours was a dream, you know?
Yeah, that's different than, oh, you mean JR was dead the whole time and all this was, I dreamed Dallas in its entirety? Like, this definitely was different than that kind of vibe.
Well, my interpretation of it is that this game unlocked a nastier part of Edward Furlong's character's subconscious, which was, in turn, the trickster. Because he says, haven't you figured that out yet, Michael? I'm you.
Yeah.
And basically, you know, him giving the principal the game to review for the horror club because he shut down the horror club. Basically, it's just like, okay, now he's going to play this game and he's going to be tortured, you know, mentally. And that's basically...
But is the game going to give him a version of the principal in the principal's head?
Probably, you know. I mean, I just think it's basically Edward Furlong giving the game to the principal is kind of like his trickster personality coming out. I'm just like, okay, now here, try this, you dick. You know, basically, it's the nastier part of himself, you know, and that's why I think that's why the trickster sort of, you know, appeared and kind of winked, and basically, it's the nastier side of Edward's personality. You know, everybody has like an alter ego. That's why I called him like the Tyler Durden before Tyler Durden's.
Are all the kids and all the ordered it from Fango going to have the same ending?
See, I don't know. I maybe not.
Well, Kyle, he said like one kid had like a seizure or something.
That's a good Kyle. That's a good one.
Totally.
But that's the
Buddy
thing.
Forever.
That's the thing, though. Like that, I guess if I'm going to gripe about the movie, is I think the ending is good and it works because it's logical and it makes sense and it keeps things grounded in reality. Except for the fact when he orders the game in the first place, the phone gives him that freaky weird ass seizure. And then the next thing you know, he gets the game in the mail with, like what Andy said before, they didn't ask for his address or anything like that. So that moment still gives it that out of reality supernatural element that I think makes the ending a little weaker. And then there's
plot hole.
Yeah, and then there's the stupid thing with the shot of the dog carrying the severed hand at the very, very end. That's like, why did you put that there? You just got done telling us that none of this actually happened, and now you got the dog walking around with the severed hand.
Yeah, that's I got a problem with that too. So it's like basically it's like Team Mike versus Team Jason here, but it's 3 against 2. So because I dig this film.
Good.
Yeah,
I just didn't want to let Mike down.
I think that it was. I think it's for me good. I enjoyed it. I did not hate it. I do remember watching it back in the day, but it was so long ago. I think I saw it on Cinemax or something at 2 a.m. back in the day or something. But it is me so. Too. I might as well have just watched it fresh. I remembered almost nothing when the trickster pop up. I'm like, oh, I remember that guy. I've seen him. But I think it was good. I think there was some potential here to really be great. Like, I think there was just a few missed opportunities, but I didn't hate it by any stretch. So I don't know if that's me on the fence or I have no idea. I'm a fence setter.
It's definitely dated, but I mean, I think part of my, appreciation for this film dates back to like, probably when I was in high school and I watched it at like 2 or 3 in the morning and I was just really enthralled because, at around 1994, 1995, this was like, good for its time, like in it tech wise. And I think that's why I just had such a love affair with it at the time. And I never stopped liking it, but it might be, it might be the case why I tend to like it a little bit better and why it's held up a little bit, but I don't know. But then again, Mike got to see it in the theater, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I still remember. Yep, going to the theater in Des Moines, seeing it. It was awesome. Okay, cool. Well, that should cover Brain Scan. Jason, what's the next movie we're going to talk about?
The next movie we're going to talk about is from 2006, and it's called Stay Alive.
Play this new game, man. Yeah? Seriously, it's creepy. Oh. Hello?
Stay Alive? Never heard of it.
Yeah, this could be nice. Sweet Sebastian Bach, I want to play.
Millie, you signed in yet? I'm here.
All right, let's boot it up. The name of this game is Stay Alive. We don't know much else other than we're not supposed to have it.
Whoa. You guys feel that?
Hell yeah.
Oh, what's that? What's that?
Damn it, man, she got me. Some woman, man. Hey, somebody out there?
Miller, who are you talking to, man?
You play the game too long. You start seeing stuff. Hello?
Miller died the same way he died in the game. This can't just be a coincidence.
I think you're right.
You serious, man? Listen to yourself.
Don't you get it? If you die in the game, you die for real.
Anybody out there? Hey.
Oh, shit.
The game's become a reality.
My God.
Stay alive, stay alive.
It should be called Stay Awake because it's hard to stay awake through this one.
Oh! Gosh. Well, let me give you a quick synopsis. Some teenagers decide to pass idle time by playing an online game that has a horror theme, but the action taking place on their computer screens becomes a terrifying reality when they realize that each time a character dies during the game, the figure's human overseer dies as well. Yeah, Stay Alive. Apparently Ted says it sucks. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, that would be me being nice about this one.
Whoa!
Holy shit.
Damn.
He really hated
I didn't mind it.
I'm glad you missed our show covering it. My God.
Just negative.
We missed you.
Yes, it kept Frankie Muniz's career alive for another day.
Yeah, barely.
Damn.
So what's funny is he's top billing because everybody knew him, but he was a secondary character. Like I expected, because he was, at least on my DirecTV and you hit info, he's first. So to only run into him 30 minutes into the movie was interesting. I did not expect that, but
They killed what would now be their top billing. They kill him right away, like the
Adam
best
Goldberg.
actor.
He's freaking awesome to see him in this.
Milo is big on, like, This Is Us now. Milo Ventimiglia. I don't remember how to say his name.
Rocky Balboa's kid.
I will say maybe the worst character name ever, Swink Sylvania. Fuck you. Like, nobody has that name. Would ever have that name. That's a porn name. Like, that's
you took the words right out of my mouth, man.
Well, thanks. We just lost our Patreon supporter, Swink.
I was
Swink to twink.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll write Swink an email later and explain.
Sorry, I take it that was his nickname, not God-given name, and it was just an inappropriate nickname. The God-given name is completely fine. It's great.
But still, fuck him.
It's like, who wrote that? Sorry, Sylvania even makes it better. Sorry.
Was he a light bulb? Is he an heir to the light bulb fortune or something?
I don't know. It's funny because they said his name and I hit info and I go down to cast and crew and I was like, really? Anyway, sorry. Never inviting me back. I feel like you screwed my Patreons up. Sorry.
Well, I just pissed off a lot of True Blood fans. So,
yeah. If we have any Patreon supporters still after the things Andy says on this show, then you don't have to worry about it. Anyway, so I'm really curious to hear what Ted has to say about this movie, since he was right out of the gate throwing.
What do they call that?
Well,
is the kids say?
Considering this one is 2006, it somehow feels more dated than the brain scan.
The graphics of the game.
Wi-Fi in the van. There wasn't even, that was DSL days. How do you get that?
God, it was painful. Like this. Oh man, from the performances, the gaming in the movie was god awful looking. Just oh man, the dialogue, they were like calling each other "you're gay" and just so much in this one I hated. Just it's like out of all the things to pick, Mike, why this?
I thought maybe this would be one that Tad could just liked throwing on, because Tad picks some really weird ones that he loves to just throw on and have in the background. from
Yeah,
this era.
not this one. I had it on, and Nikki came down, and she's like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Just watching it." She's like, "It's for the podcast, isn't it?" She comes in like every time I'm watching something. She just thinks that we watch. I'm pretty sure she thinks the podcast is just us watching bad movies on purpose.
It had been a while since I gave you a real stinker like this one, though.
So you agree this one's a stinker?
Yeah, I'll get into mine in a minute.
Was this made for TV? I mean, did this go?
Yeah.
No.
It wasn't? I thought it was TVMA. Oh, no, that was our last movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this had a big budget, and it made money. Made lots of money. It tripled its budget.
Are you kidding me?
No, it was made for $7 million, and it made 27 worldwide. Yeah, why didn't we get sequels of this bad boy?
Because it's a bad boy.
It's not that bad. I
Okay.
didn't mind it.
Defend it.
I don't know how. Other than, I thought it is what it is. It's a mid-2000 movie.
It's a bootleg Darkness Falls Dead Silence ripoff.
It's a movie that's just like all the other movies from then, but I don't know. I thought it was like the most of the movies we watched. I thought it was the most in line with the theme of the episode. Like, it is a video game and a movie. Like, I even like, I don't know if the graphics were, which was worse, the graphics or the camera. But like, there were moments where I thought they did a good job blending the two, between the two, and going back and forth between the game and the and real life and the kills, and I thought it played real well with the theme of things. No, I'm alone on this island.
Well,
oh my gosh!
Wait, is there anybody else who liked this one at all, or?
I'll probably echo my sentiments. The first, I think they had something here. And I don't. Maybe it's just me. I think why? So my problem was the backstory of the antagonist was good and actually added a lot to it. And that was great. That there's a local legend and things went bad and that's cool. That's fine. Again, I got stuck on why a game. Why'd they get stuck in the game? Like, why is this witch or whoever she was? Why is she after? Why a game? They never explained it. It just was. It was just.
Hey, the tagline says it all. You die in the game. You die for real.
Well, I get it. I just thought, like, why is she attacking people in a video game? Like, if she was alive 100 years ago, it's all. I expected them to explain it at some point. Maybe the video game people came in and scanned her house and. I don't know.
I agree with you 100%. I had that moment during watching the movie. I'm like, why is the video game part of this at all?
Because the game's based on the life of the evil Countess Elizabeth Bathory,
who died like how many hundreds of years ago, and now she's cursed. She's a curse in a video game. Doesn't make any sense.
The characters, but I'm trying to tell you the tie, and you have to accept it.
Well, here's the bit of the problem. Elizabeth Bathory, that they want to tie this into real life. She was nowhere fucking near New Orleans. Okay, she was from Hungary. She's from Hungary.
Yeah, that was on my notes. I'm like, I don't believe Elizabeth Bathory lived on the plantation.
There was a woman that like tortured her slaves like in New Orleans. I mean, I can't recall her name right now, but I mean
every slave owner.
Well, no, she was like really more, she was more kind of like this character, and she would like chain them to the walls and just like let them just starve to death. It was like within the city limits of New Orleans.
And even if there wasn't a real person that did that, why not just go ahead and tie it to slavery and all that stuff in that time period that actually took place in the United States? Why bring Elizabeth Bathory into this whole thing? That just didn't make any sense to me. And how does that connect to video games? And
I wasn't hung up on the details of the history lesson.
It's the plot of the movie.
Yeah, since when do you care about the plot of movies?
Right where it took place, like maybe that's the whole. They could have made that the point. Like, yeah, she lived in that area, but she's trying to escape to, spread everything elsewhere. And hey, look, the video game does it. Yay! That could have been done. I thought that the movie really hit its stride. The part that I really thought if they'd have leaned into this and maybe trapped someone in there was when Swink figured out that the real life could manipulate the game and vice versa, and when he started going like, oh, I need something. It's like there should be a crowbar in front, and he started doing that kind of stuff. That was pretty cool, and I thought that maybe if they would have had some people trapped inside and some people outside trying to help them inside, that could have. I liked that piece, and that was pretty cool, and I liked how they leaned in. Had they leaned into that part with the game, the graphics wouldn't have made any difference. It'd have been fine. But I liked that stuff. That was pretty cool. Like like I said, how he had Wi-Fi in 06 in a van. I don't know, but that's fine. We'll just move past that. It's fine. But yeah, I like that stuff. That stuff was cool.
I mean, I do appreciate that a bunch of studio execs allowed a bunch of third graders to write and edit a movie.
Oh my god,
maybe
worse than Ted.
Maybe Furlong's Horror Club wrote it.
I think that's really noble of them to do that. That's all I'm saying. I thought the editing was super clunky in this. Like, it's just jumping around all over the place, and the characters' motivations and personalities are so inconsistent through the whole movie. Like the brother, Finn, he is like not believing in this whole thing at all, and it only ever gets brought up once with him. And I like that actor too, by the way. The whole time I couldn't remember what else I've seen him in though.
It's Always Sunny.
Oh,
He's McPoyle.
Duh. Yeah. Okay.
He's also in Gravy and in Westworld.
I still haven't seen Westworld.
Need to do.
I had gravy with my dinner. So, but like, so there's that moment when he's just like, you know, saying fuck you to everybody, and like doesn't believe that the game, even though it's only been brought up once at this point, he's like, yeah, that's bullshit. The game can't have anything to do with anything. And then there's the moment when he is run off the road, and right before he's killed, and they're on the phone with him, and they're like, "Don't worry, you didn't die in the game." And he's like, "Yes, that's right, I didn't die in the game." And I'm thinking, why are you so excited? You don't believe in any of this anyway. Why?
And then he died anyway.
And then he died anyway. And then it's like, oh, this is how he died in the game. Wait, you just got done saying he didn't die in the game. When did I miss that he died in the game? It's like, it felt like there was chunks of movie missing here. Like there were scenes that either were not shot or it was just badly edited because people would jump from like one opinion to the other. They would be like full on believing 1 second and then in total denial the next second, with nothing in between that to explain how they would come to a different conclusion. And and for me, the Finn character was the worst for that, especially with his death. Like at no time did it ever say anywhere that he died in the game, and now all of a sudden, because he ran over by the carriage, then he supposedly died in the game the same way.
I checked on IMDb, and there's actually two different cuts of this film. There's the, I believe we saw the PG-13 one, and there's an R-rated one as well. So it might be explained in the R-rated version.
Guys, let's rewatch it.
I would hope so. Oh. Honestly, I would rewatch the R-rated version just because I need some closure on this. I don't want the Helen Keller edit. I want the
wow.
I want the R-rated version that actually explains everything that's going on and give proper character motivations.
I want to know how exactly his and these are in Finn's word. My whip got stuck when literally his car's like halfway still on the road when it's parked. I was just like, how did you get stuck? There's no possible way that car, even a shitty old Pontiac Fiero that he's driving, there's no way. And now I'm pissing off
The other one was when he got
Pontiac.
run over. When he got run over by the carriage, when he got out of his car, they like all got in a car and went over to meet him. And apparently, no human passed the area in however long it took him to get there, as he's just laying in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
They pick up roadkill faster than that. Anyway, sorry if we're throwing shade. I figured let's go.
Yeah, I mean,
I also couldn't stand the detective in this. This is such a stereotype of detectives in like horror films. Of like, obviously he was very suspicious of Hutch, him and his partner especially. When Hutch has literal alibis for every death. Like, all of his other friends could, when his boss was killed, when Adam Goldberg was killed, and he said that he was, playing the game with his friends at another location, his friends are right there to be able to say, yeah, that's true. Not to mention the fact that they're all the cops are looking at him funny after Finn's death, getting run over by a horse and carriage. When he's got an alibi for that too. They were driving to the location and he was with all these other people when Finn was getting killed. How is he a suspect?
And he wasn't in a horse and carriage either on the way there.
Exactly. I just don't understand how the cops were like, especially the main detective's partner, who seemed all about it, blaming it on Hutch. And it just didn't make any sense. Like, if any of the deaths that you could probably, blame Hutch for would have been when October died. And again, all these names in this movie are stupid. October.
There's a Loomis. Come on.
Yeah.
Loomis
and
is
his
the
last
name.
name.
Hey! You're throwing shade at our October on our Patreon. I'm sorry.
Sorry, October. Anyway, but because he's the only one around when he finds her dead, and then he's covered in her blood. So he could have been a suspect for that one, but none of the others. When the cops are all like, maybe this Hutch kid did it. I don't know. That just drove me nuts. It's such a stereotype in horror films where like the main protagonist is being looked at for the murders by the cops.
Yeah.
But it makes no sense in this movie.
I have a question. Since Finn didn't die in the game, right? And he got murdered. What about at the beginning of the movie where, what was his name? The Milo's character, the
Loomis Crowley.
Loomis Crowley. His roommates get gutted. Well, his roommate and his girlfriend, the guy that was doing her with the pig mask on, they get gutted, and they were even nowhere near the game. They didn't even know about the game, and they get killed too.
Oh shit, that's a good point. I forgot about all that too. Oh my god, the movie makes less sense.
Yes. Yeah, I know. It's just like it's breaking its own rules, man. And that's one thing that's like a real big pet peeve with me in movies. It's like if you're making all these rules that you have to abide by, and then you're breaking your own rules, just man, I don't have time for that crap.
You can do it by saying, you could ramp it up if you flip it. At first, people are dying in the game, and oh shit, now people around us that aren't playing the game are dying. You can ratchet stakes up if you do it that way. But you're right, I forgot about that. The beginning of the movie walks that way. Then everyone dies in the game. Then in the middle of the road, someone gets run over who didn't die in the game, but I guess he did, but maybe he did. We don't know. And then yeah, I didn't think of it that way. Yes, yeah. I hate it worse now. Thanks.
I do what I can.
At the end of the day, I just think it was very poorly written and not thought all the way through. I will give it props. I thought the performances were good, and I thought it was a great cast. I loved seeing a lot of these actors show up, like Adam Goldberg and what's his name again from
Frankie
Always
Muniz.
Sunny. And him too. And
Jimmy Simpson.
And I liked how Frankie Muniz did his character. It was a kind of almost, and I don't mean this bad, but I took his character as almost being on the spectrum.
Yep, that's
I didn't mean it
Actually,
to
I
be
think
funny.
the editor was on the spectrum.
What's that?
I said the editor was on the spectrum.
Yes, that's right. But yeah, so I'll give props to the cast. Just everything else was they just didn't have much to work with.
It's a very interesting idea. I will give that to them. It's just the execution fell flat with me. But it's like what Scott said with like using elements within the game and leaving the crowbar. That I found interesting, but that's probably the only real positive thing I gotta say about this movie. I mean, I'm not a big fan. PG-13 or R. This is probably the only time I'm watching this. So sorry.
And there's other things that were like set up in the game world, like the thing with the rose. I mean, it came back, but I just thought it'd be a bigger thing because they seem to be such a big highlight in the game. You know,
like damn near drug a rose bush into the room later. Like they leaned into that pretty. Like,
oh yeah, I guess they did.
I thought it got a little cheesy, but I like it as a game element. It makes fun. There's always kinds of weird things that keep the whatever away in a video game, and for it to be real life, it was fine. Then in the end, they're like lying in rose bushes on purpose. It was a little weird.
But maybe I missed it. Did the mirror thing ever come back?
Yeah, it killed the. Well, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it almost killed her, didn't it?
It vanquished our villain, I guess. Right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. That might have been when I
took
nodded off.
the back of the laptop, right?
Yeah, the Alienware got some love.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I played this movie in my house on the big screen, and actually all of my plants wilted when it saw this film. So.
Who picked this movie? Mike.
I did. I was trying to do something different.
Yeah.
That you did.
You did.
Not really. He did the same thing, which is always picks at least one shitty movie.
Yes, movie.
I felt I was doing good for such a long time.
Yeah,
it's all good, man. You can't like everything.
That's true.
No.
Well, speaking of likes, I'm hoping everybody's into the last movie we're going to talk about. Tad, what's the last movie we're going to talk about?
Our last movie is 2012's Would You Rather, and I would rather watch this every day than watch either of the other two. This movie was awesome.
Iris Shepard Lambert. Dr. Barton's told me much about you. Your brother. He's quite sick.
You can help him.
I'm hosting a dinner party tomorrow night, and I'd like you to join us. I mean, there'll be other guests there. People who just haven't received a fair shake in life. And the evening will culminate with a game.
A contest.
Each player will be given a choice between A or B. What the hell is this? Decision-making in its rawest form. Would you rather electrocute yourself?
Oh, no, I see where this is going.
Or...
I don't think I can do this either.
15 seconds. Go.
No. No, I can't do this.
You must make the decision. It's the game.
What the fuck is the matter with you people?
Would you rather...
You sick fuck!
Light the fuse!
Don't do this. Please don't do it. Can I stab her anywhere?
I think it's an
pretty
IFC. Yeah,
It was,
IFC
yeah.
movie. Has a great cast. The story's pretty simple. We are introduced to a character named Iris. We're sort of established that she's taking care of her younger brother as almost a motherly figure, cooking for him and taking care of him in his daily life because he's sick. And she's doing everything she can to try to keep up with bills and keep him well and find a solution for his illness and help get him back to health. And she goes and visits a doctor who introduces her to a very awesome Jeffrey Combs as a rich sort of, I don't know how to even explain it, because we don't know at the time what his story is, but we know that he's offering her a solution to just show up for dinner. And as an avid horror watcher, I know that it's going to get good when he invites her over for dinner. And when they arrive for dinner, we get to meet the rest of the awesome cast, which has some great veterans. John Hurd is in this. You may remember him from a little film called Home Alone.
That's your go-to.
Yes, Home Alone. There's Sasha Grey, which I won't mention. I don't know any of her movies. I don't know where.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I have
no idea what I've seen her in. I have no idea.
Yeah, doesn't even look familiar. Never.
Not with her clothes on.
Not like that.
So I had to look up her name. I wasn't sure who it was, but there's also Rob Wells, who many people would recognize from Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
Just some really awesome ensemble cast, and everybody sort of plays a unique to them role. We have June Squibb. I'm trying to remember. I think I know her from Nebraska, and she's in a couple other things. She's in a lot of stuff, actually.
Yeah.
But just such a cool cast. I was really surprised to see so many faces I recognized when she walked into that dinner. And as you can guess from the poster and the title, and you sort of, I mean, this isn't a new concept, but it's very well done here. When they arrive, this rich asshole is basically throwing his money around to get these people who are in desperate need of that money to do fucked up things to each other. And we sort of see, we get to know the characters by how they treat themselves, treat others, and what decision they make. He gives them a would you rather, and it's like, would you rather do this to yourself or do that to another person? And so we sort of establish who's out for themselves, who's got a conscience, who desperately needs this more than others. And I had a blast with this one. I wasn't sure what to expect at all, and this is like a new favorite. I really enjoyed the hell out of this one. Jeffrey Combs just kills it.
Oh yeah, yes, top
everything.
form.
But it's a perfect role for him.
I gotta say that I think I could take that Julian kid down to the ground and punch him in the face for 4 hours and still not get tired of doing it.
And that's why he did a great job.
Oh my god! I just despise that little shit.
Yeah, I ended up. I made a lot of notes on this one. For sure, Jeffrey Combs stole the movie. He had to carry the movie, and he did fantastic. He's got that certain level of creepy while he's just talking normal that isn't creepy, but it seems like there's something behind it, and he did fantastic. He's a good character actor, but I thought he really leaned into this. I thought he did really well with this material. I thought this was wildly intelligently written. Even in the 10 minutes it takes to set up Iris and her situation, they put in all these short little things, like a quick phone call from someone saying she didn't get a hostess job. Little things to show you how bad things are.
Yeah.
I think the motivations of the characters are completely believable in every form. Like, if you were going to lose your brother and lose everything after losing your parents, there's a sold sign on the house, if anyone didn't notice. She's literally at rock bottom, and someone who she trusts, the doctor, says, no, you should do this. I bought all of that. I thought it was fantastic. What was the best part for me was watching the choices and the calculations that everybody had to make. You got Amy going, fuck y'all, and then everyone else is trying to be respectful but logical but work it kind of out. I liked all of that stuff. That was fantastic. I thought the way John Hurd's character went out, spoilers, was shocking. It was There was not one hint that if you got up, anything would happen, and oh shit. I also liked the very first challenge. I'll give you money to eat the steak. That's cool because it's just fucked up enough. It's just enough that no one would do that you realize something's off here, right?
Right.
And then
gets
it
started,
obviously
yeah.
it's like not rude, but it's rude. And it was brilliant. I thought that was brilliantly written. I really love that. We'll get to the end in a while, I'm sure, but I wanted to say something at the end. But this I had seen before. I had watched this before, actually on IFC. I've still got DirecTV, and this was by far the best of the three. This thing was good. This thing was legit good.
I agree with you on the steak bit, Scott, because it's messed up. It's messed up enough, but it's just tame enough to get a good start and to make things escalate. I mean, you don't say, okay, you don't just say, okay, stab this guy in the leg, for starters, or punch this guy in the face for, $50, it's just tame enough. I mean, because it's just, he's not like, he's not asking her to pull out her fingernails or any of that shit. He's just like, I'm asking you to eat like a bite of meat. But it's like totally against, but at the same time, it's totally against her scruples. So I mean, it's just it's a great little way to start out. And
well, the next one was even great because now you're telling him to take a drink, and that it's almost the same as the vegan thing, except it's not. And he might be in some real trouble if he goes down this road. Do you know what I mean? Like he ratchets it up just a minute, just a bit to show you he's still a little fucked up before everything really, really starts. And both of those choices were fantastic. It was just enough to let you know something's really getting weird here.
Yeah, and I thought it was awesome how it's like every time you thought they might be sort of outsmarting him, which it's tough because he's there and you can't really talk amongst yourselves behind his back, but they were like, they were sort of giving the lashings to that guy at the beginning, and then he sort of turned it was like they thought they had him figured out. Well, if, I'll just stab myself and not give him the lashings. And it was like that he kept being the option of him lashing until he was pretty much, until they killed him, and he put them in a corner. Like every time they thought they found a loophole or a way around completely murdering each other, they found a way. He found a way to outsmart them and sort of turn the table on them and make it just awful.
Yeah, I totally agree with what everyone's saying too. It just, it was just one heck of a. It was the up part of a roller coaster. It just kept going up and up and up and up, and it was fun to see how it was going to play out. And it was all due to the power of Jeffrey Combs' mustache. And
I'm beginning to think that this movie is done so well, but yet the premise of it is so simple that if this movie was made to, say 50, 60 years ago, I could easily see Vincent Price in Jeffrey Combs' role.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just all these characters, just sitting in this, and I just think this could easily have been a remake, but I mean, but yet it's so well done, in present day as well.
It's not really an original concept, but it's definitely its own thing, and that's pretty cool.
Well, that was my thing. If this could almost be its own subgenre, because I can think of a couple other films within this vein.
Rich guy.
What's that?
Have you seen Cheap Thrills?
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah,
Cheap Thrills. I love Cheap Thrills. I think Cheap Thrills cemented my man crush on Ethan Embry. But I really love this movie too. And just anytime you put Jeffrey Combs in a picture, it's awesome. And it was a great, great meaty part for him. It was so cool just watching him trying to stay, proper and stuff. But when he had to be demanding too, you just kind of wanted to cower in the corner kind of thing. All the performances were great. The challenges were fun and tense and crazy.
I thought the fact that Combs' character also had a moral compass that you could see. He had a real moral compass, it was jacked up over here on the side. But, when his son tried to take advantage of Iris, he's like, we're not doing that. I'm really sorry. Like, he was embarrassed. He kept being embarrassed by his son. We don't do that. Like, the creepy part was he kept treating them all with a lot of respect at the same time of doing all this icky shit to him. And that was half for me what made it all crazy creepy by him.
It's a great point. I couldn't agree with you more on that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know what else to really add other than, man, was that final scene in the movie kicking the nuts or what?
I liked the ending.
A whole, I liked it because it gave you that whole mist where they've taken you through this roller coaster ride and you think you're safe at the end, and then you have one last drop.
So did you have I wanted to talk about the.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Just real quick. And they don't even give you a chance to breathe on. Just don't give you a chance to reflect on that. It's just, as soon as that happens, boom, credits. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
No, the end. Her choice. What she did that, like what she did at the end of the game. Did that completely shock you? Did anyone have a real problem with that? Like, oh, that's not what Iris would do, or whatever. I had a unique take, but what did everyone think? Because that was the shocking part of it. I kind of knew it was going to be a bad ending. Like, I kind of saw that coming because in the late 90s and 2000s that became in vogue to have kind of not so great endings. And I kind of figured, yeah, something's been going on back home. I didn't know he'd do it himself on purpose, but I thought something probably happened to him. But what did you think of the ending when she made the choice that she did?
I think she was just quiet enough through the whole movie that we didn't know, so I wasn't shocked. I mean, like, I wasn't surprised. I believed that it was in her.
I wasn't
because
shocked.
She was quiet and she didn't. I don't know.
I wasn't shocked either because I go back to Cheap Thrills. Cheap Thrills, kind of the same, almost the exact same ending, and her character and Pat Healy's character in Cheap Thrills, kind of the same thing where they're just like everything is going wrong and they really do need that money. So I jumped. It was abrupt, like the guy's still trying to. Say his piece, and he starts telling his backstory, which I'm at that moment, I'm like, okay, let's hear it. I want to know your story. And then he doesn't even get to finish it.
Well, I was under the impression that they were still under a time lock, and if she doesn't make her decision, she's kind of screwed. And plus, if you're under the time lock, the last thing I want to hear is, if I'm going to die, the last thing I want to hear is some other guy's sob story trying to make me, hesitate, my decision, to kill him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was just like, okay, I have to shoot you now because I don't want to hear this. I don't want my emotions getting in the way of, because if my emotions get away, that's less time that I have to make the decision, or Bevan's behind me is probably going to put a bullet in my head anyway. So I kind of understood why she did it, and so abruptly and so quickly, because I mean, once she put the gun down, she showed regret. I mean, she wasn't like malicious about it.
But if it's me or you, it's gonna be me.
No, but I don't think there was any life stakes involved because it was either you shoot him or you guys both leave with nothing.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Here's the thing I think's unwritten, and they never said it, and they never got into it. But I think if she doesn't make that choice, they're both dead. They're witnesses to murders.
Oh, yeah.
They're never being allowed to leave. But by making her do that,
now she's an accessory.
Now there's something on her, and she can't talk. And I figured, and she never said it, but as I was sitting there, I was like, either one of you's walking out, or neither of you are, because they're never going to let you just get up and go, oh, never mind, bye. Like, that's never going to be allowed to happen, right? So that's where my brain went.
Exactly, and the other stakes I thought maybe is like if she said let's walk, then my thought was like Jeffrey Combs was going to give him a chance at that same question, and who's to say he wouldn't have choose to shoot her? So,
all in all, I really like this movie. it's movies like this that kind of make me question my own scruples, because I kind of, I'm serious because I mean,
which character are you around the table? Are you Sasha Grey? Which is it, Andy?
He's definitely Sasha Grey.
Yeah, if it's they say stab yourself in the leg or watch True Blood. God,
we'll get it back. All right.
Yeah, better give me that knife.
Saw off your foot or watch whatever that
brain scan.
Stay alive again.
Oh,
Clowntergeist. Come on.
No, man, because I really it bothered me because I'm almost I'm going on almost 13 years sober, and then he's like waving like 10 grand of a wine glass in front of me. I'm just like, shit, I start thinking to myself, 10 fucking G's to take a gulp of wine. I could, I used to be able to do that like nothing. And I'm thinking, like, God damn! I'm just like, I don't like what this movie's doing to me right now. But yeah, I mean, if it's pulling that kind of emotion out of me and kind of messing with me a little bit, I know that it's doing its job. So I know that it's very effective, and I know that it's doing what it's set out to do. So I really enjoyed this movie. So.
I'm glad I watched it last. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it was the last one I watched. No, I watched Stay Alive last. Damn it.
It's a good one. It's
Yeah,
on
it's a good
Netflix.
All right, so those are our movies that we're going to talk about. Any honorable mentions from anybody?
Oh yeah.
As far as game movies,
yeah,
I think Cube is underrated.
I love Cube.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it's a game. I mean, it's kind of a game.
Kind of.
It's a puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah, I really dig that one. I haven't seen that near enough.
Game.
I was thinking, obviously Cheap Thrills, Cabin in the Woods. They're unwillingly playing a game.
Well, yeah, the people in the office are placing bets on them. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, Battle Royales. Technically, I mean, they put them in there and they have to compete to live.
Good point. Yeah.
Ready or Not, which we can't talk about because Mike hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
The Running Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a good one. Truth or Dare. I don't care what you guys say, I like that one.
I like that.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's okay.
I have
good. Better than Stay Alive, damn it.
It's not a high bar though. It's not a high bar.
Little ode to my childhood here, and it's not the new one, but the old one, Tron.
Oh, good. I mean, yeah, it's not horror, but it's a great movie.
Yeah,
it's a great pick.
It's a game.
If we're gonna go like that, then Last Starfighter.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Faux shizzle.
Oh, I got a good one. Am I the only one in the world that has seen this anthology film? It's called Nightmares.
I don't think I haven't seen it.
Apparently, it's such an unknown anthology film, and I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but I remember it being really super cool. I think it's got like 4 stories in it, and it's got an interesting cast. Emilio Estevez is in it. Lance Hendrickson is in it. And
awesome.
The Emilio Estevez segment is him playing this arcade game, and he gets, if I remember right, he gets sucked into the arcade game. That's all I remember. Anyway, good story.
Yeah, let's save some for the shout-outs.
All right.
I think none of them happen if War Games doesn't become a thing. War Games was probably the ultimate first video game wanting to kill people on accident, kind of, sort of. But not horror by any stretch. But.
Oh, I was going to say like Jocks.
More.
Or was that
more
one?
like it.
So,
Joysticks?
No, the Jocks.
Joysticks is awesome.
It's not called
Even
Jocks.
though this
the 80s teen sex comedy where they're tennis players?
No.
Oh.
I thought they were in giant robots and they had to fight each other.
Oh, Robot Jocks.
Robot Jocks.
Robot Jocks.
There you go. Good one.
Yeah.
This kind of weird, oddly it ties it together. Jeffrey Combs has a cameo in that movie if you pay attention.
Of course he does. It's a Stuart Gordon movie.
Stuart Gordon movie. Yeah. Oh, and here's a little obscure one, and it does involve a video game, and they have to play it because there's spy secrets in it. Does anybody remember the Dabney Coleman and Henry Thomas movie Cloak and Dagger?
Yes.
Should be in the Hall of Fame. That should be in the Library of Congress's movies of genius. You get 20 points for thinking of that one. Holy shit! I grew up with that movie on Last Starfighter and Cloak and Dagger were on a loop in my house. Probably.
Nice. I had not seen Cloak and Dagger until like the first time a year or two ago, and I just remember finding the 2-pack of. It was like a 2-disc set of It and Wizards.
Wizards.
So another good video game movie, but I wanted to watch Cloak and Dagger really bad after I had learned that
snap them fingers all you want.
Oh God! Director of Fright Night,
Tom Holland.
After I learned Tom Holland wrote the script.
I love the fact that Sheriff Wydell wants Henry Thomas to go get him Twinkies.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
William Forsythe.
Yeah. Flack Lady Ace. I'm telling you, I've memorized that damn thing. Jack Flack escapes. How can he escape? I'll give you a gas mask and extra bulletproof vest. It's no fun. Oh my God, I've memorized that damn thing.
That's awesome.
Oh God, it's so good. Ugh.
All right, so that's it for the main part of the show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be doing some segments here on Attack of the Killer podcast.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
And it's segments time here on the show. Let's start off, as we always do, with some shout-outs.
It's time for shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
Everybody's favorite segment, shout-outs. We asked, what are your favorite horror-related, game-related horror movies? And on Facebook, we got Johnny Zuko says, House on Haunted Hill remake.
Yeah, it's a game. I mean, the whole thing.
I prefer the original, but
right, totally.
Oh yeah.
Good job, Johnny. Chris Anderson says, Brain Scan.
Woo, nice.
Hey, we got Melissa Podliska says, Subterrano.
Huh.
I don't know what that is.
That's awesome. Mel posted something, and a movie I've never even heard of.
Huh.
Yeah, me neither.
She must have made it up then.
It's probably no God Monsters of Indian Flats.
Ah! Oh, man. Derek Johns says, Resident Evil. Brain Scan is my favorite movie about a video game. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah.
We got Mike Reeb, the Reebster.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy, we missed you.
Mike
Halloween
Reeb.
Palooza.
Yeah, we did.
Aw. Mike Reeb says, Would You Rather with Jeffrey Combs was great.
Yeah, it was.
Resident Evil 2 Apocalypse is a blast. And
for it.
I know I'm probably in a minority, but I really liked Hellraiser Hellworld.
Yeah, you are in a minority.
Yeah. I've heard no one say that ever before. No one can defend that one? Hellworld?
I haven't seen it, actually.
To be fair, I should probably watch it again.
There's always been a part of me that wants to go through them.
I kind of been
4
thinking
through
that
whatever.
too. I did recently buy a 2-pack.
Oh yeah,
that
you did.
had Hellraiser 3 and Bloodline, which
is good.
I like Bloodline.
Yeah.
I don't care. I like it better than 3.
Okay.
I saw Inferno, and then after that, I just wanted to punch myself in the nuts for doing that.
True that. And then lastly on Facebook, we got Nick Leadham. He says, I remember liking Cube as a kid.
Hell
Heck
yeah.
Cube's freaking awesome. And then Battle Royale, if that counts as horror, sure. I think we'll count it.
Crossover.
And then he says, Hellraiser has a puzzle in it. Sure does. So I guess that counts.
The lament configuration.
That's right.
Well, if we're gonna
Easy for you to say.
if we're gonna be detailed like that, then Pieces, it's got a puzzle in it.
There you go. And we know Tad just watched it.
That's right.
Yep.
Nothing in the Facebook group. I don't know what's going on over there with them kids.
Man,
must be sleeping. Nothing on Twitter, but over on Instagram we got Backlot 605. They say live scream.
Holy shit! Never heard of that.
Anybody? Live scream?
Not me.
That's 2 we got to look up now.
Damn it!
And then this other guy, this EvRun42, Evan Runkle.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
I know, Evan. Oh man, he says Beyond the Gates is pretty great.
Holy shit! How did I not think of that movie? I would have put that on the list if I would have.
We would have loved to watch Barbara instead of those first 2 movies.
I really like that one too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a little slow in the middle, but
yeah,
good one.
It really kind of reminds me of that Nightmare board game that I mentioned.
Exactly. I think that's why I like the movie, because it's just so nostalgia for the old VHS board games.
Well, that's what we got for shout-outs. Remember that you can always call in at 415-952-6857 or 415-95-AOTKP. If someone did, we'd put it here. If not, give us a call. We'll play your voicemail on the show. And that's shout-outs. But now it's time for everyone's 30-second favorite segment on the show. It's Insane's Picks. What?
30 seconds.
It can't be first. That's my segment.
Well, on this Insane's Picks, we're going to do a short film from the year 1989, a little film called The Resurrection of Michael Myers Part 2. You're asking yourselves,
what?
Yeah, it's a fan film. You can find it on YouTube. It's like 27 minutes long, and this is probably going to be my favorite movie I've ever described before on the show. We'll get to that. It's off the hook. It's bizarre. Anyway, it's a short film from Sweden, shot on video, directed by Richard Holm and Henrik Wadling. The film is all in Sweden with no subtitles, so I have no idea really what's going on. But this is my interpretation of what's happening. Here we go. It's New Year's Eve, and everybody is having a party. One of the guys at one of the parties is wearing a Michael Myers mask. He's trying to touch this girl's boob. She takes his mask off and throws it on the ground, and it just lays on the ground for a good part of the movie. Then a lightning storm starts, which I guess the lightning hits the party because the Michael Myers mask now all of a sudden starts crawling away, crawls into another room, and Michael Myers appears out from the room and then goes around killing people at the party. Meanwhile, at the hospital, a doctor and a slutty nurse are making out and accidentally spill toxic waste on a Fangoria magazine, which brings Leatherface and Jason Voorhees to life. They go around killing everybody in the hospital. Meanwhile, another doctor and another slutty nurse find a dead body randomly on the ground, and He tries to check the guy's vitals while this other slutty nurse unzips the pants of the dead guy and sticks her hand down his pants, which brings the body back to life as a zombie and eats the doctor and the nurse. Jason and Leatherface continue to chop girls' clothes off, and then they have a big face-off with this kung fu zombie. And then Michael Myers is still going around killing people.
So this is the greatest movie ever made.
It kind of is.
I'm fucking watching it.
And again, it's only 27 minutes long.
Of slutty nurses and zombie erections, I'm in.
So that it kind of feels like there's not as much Michael Myers in the movie as everything else that's going on,
right.
But it's there. Check it out. Again, it's only like 25 minutes, and cramming all of that into 25 minutes.
Whoa.
It's utter madness. So it's The Resurrection of Michael Myers Part 2. You can find it in full on YouTube. That's insane.
The erection of Michael Myers, apparently. Right?
Yes. So that's it for this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Scott, thank you so much.
Thanks for being on, Scott.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
awesome stuff, man. Awesome, and thanks again for the very kind, open arms welcome for you and all the listeners and everyone in Prescribed Films for letting us come be part of the network. It's been fantastic and loved every minute of it, and can't wait to keep pouring content for our movie review podcast. It gets a little bit more into pop culture stuff. We get Patreon people get to pick some movies, and so sometimes it can go different directions, but we're about to hit the high season with Star Wars. We've got more content lined up for that than anything. And then also like I said, the Industrial Light and Magic people, like someone who actually worked on Terminator Dark Fate is going to be on our show talking about the movie. That's a pretty rare thing. So that should be awesome. So yeah, we should get into some good stuff here to close the year out. So it should be fun. Thanks very much for everybody and coming on our show and doing it. It was wildly popular. One of our most listened to shows by a mile, and loved it, and can't wait to keep doing this. This is fun. Whenever we can. So
heck yeah, and thanks for having us on your show. That was a lot of fun talking about it.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, good. No, I hope you guys had fun. Ours get long because, well, one, it's a 3-hour long movie, and if we're going to chronologically walk through it, it's going to take a minute. But yeah, good times had by all. So
absolutely. All right, thanks everybody out there for listening. Thanks again to our Patreon supporters.
Our brand new ones too, especially those guys.
Exactly.
Stefan or Stefan or whatever.
And Brandy.
Thanks, guys.
So again, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you on the next full episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Attack of the Killer Podcast.